how do you stand out as a freelancer? Not just even Fiverr. How do you stand out?
I started learning how to communicate, basic stuff about SEO, search engine optimization. So there are keywords that you have to use that is relevant to your service. You should be able to niche down in such a way that you're not in an oversaturated niche. So you have to niche down. If you search yourself and there are 50,000 people in that same service, you are in the wrong niche. You're definitely in the wrong niche. Nobody's going to find you unless you're like a superstar or something. I started learning that how I present myself on my profile actually affects.
Welcome back to Root Talks, where we sit down with music professionals, creatives, freelancers to have real conversations about the business side of music, right? Now, today is a special one because we're joined by someone that, he's not just talking about freelancing, he's actually living it at the highest level, okay? Now, he's a he's a Fiverr top-rated seller, right? He has over 195 five-star reviews. Now, let me say that again in case you missed that. He has over 195 five-star reviews on Fiverr, right? He's a vetted pro over on Fiverr and over here on Root Studio as well. Super, super excited to have you online. Welcome to Root Talk.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here, and I'm happy for the opportunity.
Cheers, man. So honestly, I've been looking forward to this one because, a lot of music freelancers, producers, engineers, songwriters even, right? They're trying to figure out how to really build that sustainable freelance career, right? And you've managed to not only do that, but maintain a five-star level for, with almost over, 200 reviews. That's not easy. That's crazy, and that's not easy. Okay, and so so today we're just gonna get into your story, your process, and hopefully give some real value to people that are trying to follow a similar path.
How did I get into freelancing? I've always been a freelancer, and that's me direct to the customer and all of that. Looking for gigs, looking for people that I'll sell my services to. So just word of mouth. I work with somebody, the person tells someone about my work, next person and next person. So I really don't know when the next job is going to come. I really didn't know when the next job was going to come. So I was just going from one person to another based on goodwill, right? And so yeah, freelancer in that sense. Right from my university days, 5k makes sharp beats, you understand? But then fast forward some years later, I started researching. I was broke, and I started researching, checking on YouTube how, where can I apply myself, apply my skills? Where can I also get other skills? So I registered on Fiverr in 2019, but I forgot. I totally forgot because I had no idea what I was doing, and I just registered. I was like, so where's the money? I just closed it because I wasn't seeing anything. Right. So fast forward again to 2021 when I had now gotten a 9 to 5 job. Finally, I had settled in quotes and but the goal was always make money so that I can fund my passion. So when I started the 9 to 5, then one of my guys who I had worked with a while ago had entered into Fiverr, and he was making some good cash. And he reaches out to me and he was like, "Man, I love your work. I love your skills. I would like you to come and work with me on my Fiverr account." So there's this thing that people do, which is totally legal. Like it's legit, where they'll create an account and then they'll create gigs for different people, right? So he said he wants to create a gig for me, and then if I get an order, we'll split, the earnings. And I was like, cool, let's do it. So he put me on his account. I started working. I was doing my 9 to 5. When I come back from work, I do my Fiverr, gigs, get a little money on the side, even if it's $50, $20, anything I can get. Although at the time he was paying me like a flat rate, but I was okay with it because I had a job and I was earning okay as a 2021. So I thought to myself, because I grew up in Lagos and I still have, although I'm in Abuja, I grew up in Lagos, so I still have that Lagos hustle. I'm not as rugged as a lot of other young people in Lagos, but I still have that thing in me where I must squeeze what I can squeeze from things. So I thought to myself, wait, this guy is making it on Fiverr. Can't I do the same? You understand? Like, what's he doing that is different? So I asked him if I could create my own account. He was like, I should go ahead. Forgotten that I created my account in 2016. So he said I should go ahead. I asked him for the video he used for my gig, the pictures, the description, everything. I took it and created my own Fiverr. I think I created one gig at first, and then I created another gig. After a month, I got my first order, $20. And I was so excited. I did the order, got the money. I was so happy, man. I was learning things. Yeah, I got my Payoneer, got this, got that. When I first saw the paycheck, I was like, man, this is good. Then another order came, and then another. Actually, the same guy ordered twice. Funny story. The first order I ever did, that's the guy I worked for. The song I did, I asked him for it. I was like, I really love this song. Let me put it on my album, and he agreed. So I put him in the credits, and that was the first order on Fiverr I ever did. So it's a beautiful story, and that was how, from one order to 2 orders to 10 orders, 20 orders. The beautiful thing about me creating an account in 2019 is I had already crossed like 2 of the milestones. You understand? When I opened it, I was like, I opened this account in 2019. I haven't had any violations in so and so days. And I was like, I'm good. Let me just continue. So I created my services on my gigs, and it was breezy. I was making wild money. I couldn't believe how easy it was.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that's such a beautiful story, man. I'm not gonna lie. You see, clearly your first platform, the first platform that you used, right, was Fiverr, right? And I'm kind of intrigued now because I, as a graphic designer, having a graphic design background, right, I opened an account on Fiverr, right, and I don't think I've gotten a couple of views, right, on my profile on some of my gigs, but I haven't even gotten as little as a message. Do you understand? So I'm wondering how do you stand out on how do you stand out as a freelancer? Not just even Fiverr. How do you stand out?
I wouldn't have been able to answer this question in 2021, but because it was complete luck. I just opened my gig. I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I just opened the gig. I didn't even have a proper profile image and all of that. I just opened my gig and I just started getting orders when I was delivering. So I didn't know at the time. But then as time went on, I started. I registered. I subscribed for Fiverr Seller Plus Premium or so, and then I started getting like premium services. Like I got success managers who would usually reach out to you and ask if you have any problems, if you have any questions. So I started talking with my success managers, started researching. I started connecting with my peers who were also doing Fiverr, because funny enough, a bunch of us, not just me, were working for that my guy, at the time. And through him, all of us got to branch out. So big ups to him. I started. Sorry, where was I again? The question.
So standing out, you wouldn't have been able to answer that.
Oh yeah. So how did I really get to stand out? I started learning how to communicate with buyers. I started learning how to basic stuff about SEO, search engine optimization. Started learning how there are certain things I want to say if I want my gig to be on the top page on Fiverr. Things I did inadvertently when I just started at the go. I was like, oh, mad. I actually was doing it unknowingly. So there are keywords that you have to use that is relevant to your service. You should be able to niche down in such a way that you're not in an oversaturated niche. Graphic design is one of the most oversaturated niches in Fiverr. So you have to niche down. So you have to make sure that if if you search yourself and there are 50,000 people in that same service, you are in the wrong niche. You're definitely in the wrong niche. Nobody's going to find you unless you're like a superstar or something. And then the other side of it is, if there's like 10 people in the niche, that's a bad idea. So you should be able to niche to maybe like 2,000 to 5,000 people in the same niche, and you can stand out if you do some other things. I started learning that how I present myself on my profile actually affects what buyers would do, on your profile. So I started looking at the other side. Like, I'll search myself, I'll look. When I edit, I'll search myself and I'll look to see, and then I compare with other buyers on the marketplace, my competitors. I'll compare with them and find out, okay, what can I do better? Can I copy this? Can I modify it? There's nothing wrong in copying as long as you put your own touch. So I look at someone's profile image, find what I can put, mix and match. And so that was basically how I got better. I learned that an appealing profile image, smile, nothing too much going on in the background. Like, this background is nice. Smile. Passport photo is fine as long as it's a studio clean headshot photo of yourself and you're smiling. So when a buyer comes, they want to know that you are welcoming, you are friendly, you are approachable. You understand? So I started doing all of that. I started using SEO in my gig titles, my service titles, and my service descriptions in a sensible way, not just throwing a bunch of keywords like tags, YouTube tags, just throw them, or hashtags, but form sentences with them, talk to your buyer, help them understand that you can do what they are looking for, what they are searching for. Basically, use the search bar on Fiverr. When you search for services, search for what people are looking for. That will give you a hint on what to put on your gig title and your gig description within your own niche. For example, if your niche is in songwriting, search for songwriters, look for keywords that they use on their gig titles and descriptions, apply it to yours. So many other tips, but these are like the basic things that will help you stand out in the marketplace. You rank on the first maybe 10 pages. If you rank on the first 10 pages, you are good to go.
Yeah. That's really insightful, even for me, right? Because I've one key thing that I just got from what you just said, right, is you have to niche down, but there's also a balance to it, because you can niche down so much so in such a way that you're literally in the abyss, right? You have to exactly, there has to be some sort of balance, right? So those are there some mistakes that maybe you at that time where you had just started, where you saw these mistakes beforehand and you were like, okay, I must do everything possible to avoid these mistakes? Or are there mistakes that in hindsight now you're like, okay, I probably shouldn't have done that in the past, right? So can you just talk us through mistakes to avoid in that sense?
Mistakes. The first mistake I made was one of the reasons why I wasn't getting orders for the first few weeks. Was when I started, I was like, I'm already a bad guy. Let me just put like $300 on my service. You understand? While it may work for some people, I don't know, it may work for some people. It may take a while. I don't know how. The algorithm knows how to sort these things out, but the best thing you'd want to do is start small and then build over time. I have services where I charge $1,000. I have services where I charge $450, $495, but I didn't start from there. I started from $20. So there were dry days for me because I was putting high prices. I was like, I'm worth this. Yes, you are, but you need to, if you want to raise your prices fast, you need to be a fast learner. You need to learn fast, upgrade fast, so that what you're learning on that platform can match what you want to charge. Another thing is you need to have some catalog. You need to have worked with a lot of people. So I didn't know all of that. I just started new buyer. I just put any price I wanted. And then when I saw everywhere was dry, I just had to humble myself and start small. And it helped. Then what other mistakes? Yeah, I guess other mistakes I made was not paying attention to every single field when creating my service or my gig. At first, I wouldn't even bother putting pictures, wouldn't bother putting videos. I'll just do anyhow thing. And I often wondered. I remember one time I reached out to my seller, my success manager, and I was like, "What's going on? What's going on?" He now pointed me. I was like, "This your profile image can be better." He now showed me an example of something I can do, and I went and did some research. He said this video can be better. Sometimes what people want to see is just look for something that an old, even if it's an old video that people loved. You understand, that people really loved, that really connected with people, and put it as your video. Don't just put something that you like but it's not really appealing to everybody. So I had to start learning how to appeal to the buyer who is looking at my profile. I had to start consciously putting effort into the kind of images I put, what I put in my description. You can use ChatGPT now, but you have to be sure that you are actually the one inside the ChatGPT, not the ChatGPT inside you. Like, you are the one directing what ChatGPT says about you. Basically, just make sure that it's from your heart, because you really want to connect to the buyer. So the mistake I made was I just threw words anyway. Or I will just write like one sentence on my description. When people want to know more, you want people to know that you can do what you're claiming you can do. You can't just go and write one sentence in your description. Give a nice description, and you should focus on what you have to offer them, not just all your degrees and all your skills. How is it relevant to them? So that was the mistake I made. I was always talking me. I was always thinking of things, images that pertain to what I like alone, but not what people want to see. One other mistake I made was not reading the TOS, terms of service. Fiverr is pretty strict with a couple of things. So along the way, I had kind of like a choppy experience of my ratings dropping, my response rate dropping, but all those things kind of improved over time as I learned. And it takes a while for you to build back those things. So it was a very hard lesson for me to learn. Basically those are like the top 3 things on my list of mistakes.
Right. So I mean, pricing is always been, one of those tricky topics to bring up, especially in freelancing, where there isn't necessarily a structure or sort of system in place, right? So I'm also curious, right? How were you then able to turn your one-time clients into repeat clients? Because going through your reviews, right, I've noticed that you had a bunch of repeat orders, repeat clients, right? How were you able to hack that?
Okay, so one of the best things, before I go into that, one of the best things you can have on Fiverr is a repeat buyer. Even if it's 2 repeat buyers you have, that's what will save your life. You don't need a lot of people. Even if the algorithm goes quiet for an entire month, your repeat buyers can put food on your table for the next few months. So yeah, how did I get my repeat buyers coming back? I was really nice to them. I overdid. I delivered earlier than I told them I was going to deliver, right? Very professional. I don't try to guy alpha. Hey bro, what's up? Yeah, like there are some people you can do that with. Maybe after there are some people on Fiverr I talk with very casually like that. But try as much as possible for first-time buyers to be friendly and very cordial and very professional with them. Try and mix everything together. Deliver more than you promise. Deliver faster than you promise. And generally just be nice. Just be professional and just make sure that you say no if you can't do something. Because if you say yes and you go and you do it and you mess up, that's it. So you basically have to be perfect. I mean, nobody's perfect, but you have to kind of find a balance of doing, like, just keep on, never miss. Never miss. So when you have a new buyer, try to get to a point where every new buyer you never miss, and out of 10 new buyers you can get 3 returning buyers, and that is a lot. You understand? So just be professional, be nice, over deliver, and deliver on time. Deliver 2-3 days before your delivery date. So what you can even do is you can set your delivery date to be if you can deliver in 2 days, set it to like 4 days, and then deliver in 1 day. Yeah. So so yeah.
Basically, you're saying under promise, over deliver, right? And I also like the you saying basically you have to be perfect, because in being perfect here, it's basically about you setting your own sort of boundaries, right? Setting your own sort of extents, right? Exactly. So I really like that. So obviously now you're also a vetted pro here on Root Studio, right? What makes you, right? What makes you, or what made you want to be a part of what we're building here at Root Studio?
First of all, Root Studio is Nigerian. You know, I love anything Nigerian of quality. I'm one of those people who's going to be like, I'm going to be the class prefect of Nigeria. And when everybody goes away, I'll still be here. I'm not going anywhere. You understand? I might travel maybe for work or anything, but I'm staying here. So Root Studio is a Nigerian initiative, and that's the first thing I love about it. It's quality and it's Nigerian. That's the first thing I love about it. The second thing I love about Root Studio is the responsiveness of the team. Because like I remember when I started using Root Studio, I was so excited. I was like, I could notice some things, right? Some buggy things about the app and all of that, and the platform. But then I was really excited to get into it. And when I started noticing those things, I started talking to the team and saying, okay, this thing can be better, this thing can be better. And surprisingly, days, weeks, everything started changing and improving. You know, it blew my mind. There was a particular suggestion I gave about payments, and after like 2 weeks, everything just bam, it was there. So it's like I'm still using Fiverr with all of its convenience, right? But Root Studio is even more unique than that because it's Nigerian and it has that quality, surpasses that quality. So and this is the start. If this is where this is starting from, I can't imagine where it's going to. And there are so many creatives that have been looking for an opportunity like this, and they're having difficulty signing up on Fiverr because Fiverr has its own quirks, very, very weird stuff that happens on Fiverr, making it difficult for people to sign up. But Root Studio is it's very relatable to every single producer, singer, songwriter, beat maker, mixing engineer, and all of that. It's so easy and so relatable, and that ease is something that is very valuable to me.
MonLee here, filled with praises for Root Studio. I'm very, very, very flattered, to be a part of the Root Studio. Right. So, also, I was just thinking, right, you talking about it being Nigerian first, and that being one of the things that initially drew you to Root Studio, right? It got me thinking, how can African, not just Nigerian now, how can African creatives support local platforms?
Okay, how can African creatives support local platforms? That was the question, right? Yeah. Okay, so first of all, we should gravitate towards anything African. We should gravitate towards anything African, even if it's trash at the beginning. It becomes better if those people know what they are doing. When people gravitate towards a product or a service that is African, for Africans, by Africans, there's the better chance of improvements. Because the more people use it, the more the platform grows. Issues come up, the team can fix it and all of that, and build revenue and all of that. So basically, and then it brings the community of creatives in Africa together, because I think we try, but then there is a schism. There's some kind of a schism in the entire creative industry and we're not really together. Just compare Lagos and Abuja creatives. There's already like, I'm not even going to go into the details, but there's a silent beef when Abuja artists go to Lagos. A-list artists in Abuja go to Lagos, they become D-list artists. When Lagos artists come to Abuja, you treat the Abuja artists like D-list artists. So there's just this. I feel Lagos creatives are even more organized. Like they have a proper like, at least it looks like a click kind of system, but it's still something. But then up here in the north, you just have independent people. So there's basically, in a sense, there's a general schism. I'm using Nigeria as an example. There's general, and then there's also schism between the ones in Nigeria, the ones in Kenya, the ones in Ghana, and all of that. It's changing, but there's still a lot of room for improvement. So I believe that it would help if more Africans create services like this for Africans by Africans, so that we can all come together under these platforms and build.
All right. So, just a quick question, right? Going back to freelancers and how if you had to call out one common mistake that many or new freelancers make, let me put it that way, what would it be? What would you say is that one common mistake that freelancers make?
Still goes back to one of the mistakes I made as a freelancer. You need to. At the time, I didn't think so, because everyone is a strong head at that point. But there's this thing where you overestimate your value. You have value, yes, but you need to put your value where exactly it's at, right? Because it's going to help you know where you're heading, you understand, and forge towards it. So put your value where it's at. Invest more in learning. They always say pay your dues, and it's like a trigger word, or do it for experience, and it's like a trigger word, but there's no other way. I'm sorry. There's no other way. You have to figure out a way of taking care of yourself while you are doing it for experience. Because when you begin to mix doing it for experience and making money out of that thing that will take care of yourself, you become frustrated when you begin to conflate the two. So by all means, if it's going to be hard for you to hustle and grind and find experience, then find another means that can comfort you while you do that. But there's no going around it. You need to do some things for the sake of gaining experience. Don't be too proud. Work hard. We've seen so many examples of people who worked hard and they succeeded in our Nigerian music industry. I can't give like examples, but then they, you understand? So just be humble. Be humble, basically. Be humble. Don't make the mistake of cutting people off because of pride, or treating people anyhow because of pride. Because a lot of people that I helped in the past are the ones helping me now. So let's just be humble. Carry each other along. Know where you're at. Stay there. Know your value.
So, right. Just to round up, right? If you could give one piece of advice to a music freelancer trying to find or get their first 5-star review, what would it be? Just one piece of advice.
Be patient. Just be patient with yourself. I'm not saying be patient as in stop making efforts. Keep making efforts. It might not show right away, but there's one thing I've learned over the years is consistency. No matter how stupid the thing is you're doing, if you're consistent, it's going to make an impact. You understand? Even if the thing you're doing is evil, it's going to make an impact when you keep doing it. So consistency actually helps. Even if the consistency doesn't bring some kind of direct return to you, it will bring internal return. It will turn you into a person that is valuable. It would make you stronger, basically. So just continue. There are things that few maybe years back you never knew you qualified for, But when you're consistent and you check again, you'll be like, wow, I can actually do this. I can actually make money off of this. I can actually add value to this person. So when you're consistent, that kind of, it just builds you up. Yeah.
Amazing, bro. Really appreciate you for coming through and sharing these gems, right? I know there are a lot of people are going to get real value from this. Just for reaching out to you and checking checking out more of your work, right? Where can people find you on social media?
You can find me on every social media, or let's just say on X and on Instagram at MonLee Mane, MonLee_Mane, at MONLEE_MANE, or my second Instagram account is MonLee Mane_music, MonLee Mane together _music. I'm on Spotify, I'm on Apple Music, every other music platform. Just type MonLee Mane, MonLeeMane. I have beautiful music there. Please listen to my music, support me. That's your support for me.
Yes, check him out, guys. He's so humble that he even forgot to chip in his YouTube, which has over 18,000 subscribers, guys. Check him out on YouTube at MonLee Mane. I'll put everything on the screen. All right, MonLee, thank you so much, man. It's been a pleasure.
I appreciate it. Thank you. I was so excited to come on this call. Thank you.
Cheers.
Yeah.